So, we are talking about the hugely anticipated Love Lies Bleeding today on Boys on Film. It's a romantic thriller film directed by Rose Glass, who of course directed the brilliant Saint Maud. Raj is here. My name is Phil. So we saw this at BFI Flare 2024. It's a film that stars Kristen Stewart, Katy O'Brian, Jena Malone, Dave Franco and Ed Harris. So let's talk about the story first. It chronicles the relationship between a reclusive gym manager with a crime family and an ambitious bodybuilder. I loved Saint Maud. Did you see Saint Maud, Raj, a few years ago?
No, I haven't, but actually I really would like to see Saint Maud now after seeing Love Lies Bleeding. So yeah, it piqued my curiosity, to say the least.
Yeah. It's really good. It's a lot darker than Love Lies Bleeding. I think the tone is a lot lighter in this movie. It's certainly got comedy elements and also fantasy elements, and obviously it's an A24 and Film 4 film, so it's got that A24 feel, which I think comes out more in the end. I think that end might divide people, but let's discuss. All hell breaks loose in this movie. I think that's putting it mildly, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. I have to say, though, from beginning to end, I just thoroughly enjoyed this film. Like, I think I was smiling the whole way through because it kept you, it really kept you entertained with the story. The pacing was right. Kristen Stewart is amazing. I loved all the supporting characters like Jena Malone and Dave Franco. Like, they all just did a fantastic job. So this movie isn't exactly what you would think it was. It's a very original queer story. So I'm kind of happy to see more stories like this come to light rather than, the usual queer storylines that we're all so very used to.
So Kristen Stewart stars as Lou, the gym manager. Katy O'Brian stars as Jackie, the bodybuilder, who she's having this relationship with. She's infatuated by her. Ed Harris stars as Lou's father, who looks like a horror character in himself. I mean, there's a lot of filters in this film that they use where it's kind of like red and black, and his face is such a great face on the big screen, isn't it? I mean, he's certainly well cast in this film.
Yeah, like super evil looking.
Yeah.
Even his character, obviously, is the big villain in this film. But yeah, I was creeped out by him. He gave me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, and the brilliant Jena Malone, who I always love in films, she stars as Beth, who's Lou's sister. She's getting beaten up by her husband, who is a really nasty piece of work. That's Dave Franco's character, who's JJ. And that's pretty much where it starts. I mean, there's a few threads going through this plot. It's quite complex in some ways, because obviously it's not just about the relationship between Kristen Stewart and Katy O'Brian's characters. It's also about Kristen Stewart's character being protective over her sister, because her sister's obviously been beaten up by JJ, and it's kind of like revenge as well. So there's a lot of revenge in this story, but that's pretty much where it starts, and that's where it really gets dark and twisted. But there is comedy, like I say, so I think it is light enough to enjoy it as a roller coaster movie, not just like this dark horror, because it's got horror elements, but it's not out and out horror like I was expecting, actually.
Yeah, and kind of like the catalyst for the horror elements is the steroid taking, which kind of make Katie's character turn into the Incredible Hulk in a fantasy. So, and the rage, and knowing a little bit about how that world works. It doesn't quite work that way, but it was a good enough concept that I was able to, suspend my disbelief in how that actually works. And but yeah, I really enjoyed how they interweave the fantasy elements into it.
I loved how conflicting it was, because there were some genuine laugh out loud moments. I mean, I found myself laughing out loud at some moments, and then there's this real twist, like where straight away it gets really dark and heavy, and I'm thinking to myself, my God, I was just laughing like a second ago, and now I'm fully immersed in this dark tone. So I thought that was really clever how it does twist. And Katy O'Brian, it's her first lead role as well. I thought she was fantastic in this. I mean, I think all the performances are really good, and they're really believable characters, even though some of it is a bit far-fetched, but you kind of roll with it. Yeah,
definitely a star in the making. I haven't really seen much press with her around the movie. It's all been centered around Kristen Stewart, but I would like her to see her get out there more and talk about her perspective of the film and working with Krista.
Kristen Stewart looked a bit different. I'm guessing she was wearing contact lenses, because her eyes were brown. Has she got brown eyes? I thought she had like blue-green eyes.
Well, all I have to say is if you have some very deep-rooted Kristen Stewart lesbian fantasies, you're going to be happy with all this.
There's a brilliant score as well from Clint Mansell, who used to be in a band called Pop Will Eat Itself in the 90s. I mean, he's done a lot of scores since. That's his job now. That's his career. But he's done a lot of scores for Ben Wheatley films like In the Earth and High Rise. And he also did the score for Black Swan many years back. But yeah, and he's done, I think, an episode for Black Mirror as well. So I think he's done a perfect job with the score for this, because it does feel like there's an underbelly of violence and aggression and intrigue. I think he's done a really good score for this.
Yeah, and even a very super annoying character who just won't go away. If you know what I'm talking about. I don't want to give too much away, but
yeah, I thought it was a really fun movie. Actually, it was more fun than I was expecting. I thought it was going to be a lot dark. I mean, obviously it is dark. There's darkness to it. But yeah, I thought it was a real ride. I loved it because obviously I'm a big fan of what Rose Glass has done before. I mean, obviously, you know, that was her first film, St. Maud. I thought that was terrific for a first feature film. But yeah, I gave that 5 stars. I'm going to go with 5 stars for this as well, because I can't think of anything that's wrong with this. I thought it was thoroughly entertaining. I thought all the performances were great. The score was great. And yeah, I think even despite that really bonkers finale, I thought it was great. And it does feel like a very different film at the end, but I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, and I think it checks off a lot of different quadrants too. So if you love queer cinema, it checks that box. If you like horror, it definitely checks that box. If you like a little fantasy, it checks that box. And to be honest, I was going into this expecting something along the lines of like Hilary Swank and Boys Don't Cry or something like that. That's just where my mind went to when pre-evaluating this film, and I left the cinema going, wow, I think I need to buy that one on Blu-ray.
There is some violence in there. I mean, I'm not going to kind of, you know, I said it has got light tones and there is a lot of comedy there. There's also a lot of violence in there. I mean, there's one scene in particular. I mean, there's a few scenes, but one scene where everybody just like audibly were kind of, oh my god, I can't believe I've just seen
Phil laughs.
Yeah, because it's so over the top in a way that you have to laugh. You have to go with it, because I think it's got that dark sense of humour, which I wasn't really in St. Maud. I mean, it was definitely dark St. Maud, but it's definitely a different tone. So I think they are quite different movies.
Yeah, oh, I'm definitely going to check St. Maud out now after seeing this one. And, you know, this role was completely written for Kristen Stewart, and I can see why she jumped on it, given the chance.
Yeah, she is a big fan of Rose Glass because she loves St. Maud, so she jumped at the chance of starring in this movie. But yeah, I thought it was fantastic. So 5 stars. What did you go with? Did you go with 5 as well?
Oh, yeah, 5 stars from me. Like, it was just absolutely fantastic. And it's a shame this film isn't probably going to get a wider release. It'll probably go to digital and streaming pretty quick, but more people need to see this movie. So go out there and see it. Check your local listings, but it is incredible.
Yeah, you're right, because it's already been released in cinemas in the US, and I think it had quite a limited run in the US. I might be wrong, but I've heard from people that have seen it that, you know, they went to see see it in the cinema and there was hardly anyone there. So I mean, that's obviously just one case, but I hope it does reach a wider audience because it deserves it.
Yeah, hopefully it has that second life once it gets to a wider audience and we get past all the Oscar stuff and everything. But this should be your first film to go out and see. Yeah. Put it on top.
I don't know the UK release date for it here, but obviously we saw it at the BFI Flair Film Festival, so we've got an upfront screening of it because of the festival. But yeah, check out our review of St. Maud, because Sean and I reviewed it when that came out, and even though he's not a horror fan, he did love St. Maud, so yeah, big thumbs up for that. Check it out on screen, and don't forget to subscribe. See you on the next one.